Are you sure you're not going to get fired, or you're not going to get me fired?
They'll understand. It's not like we're sitting here like drinking beers and like, screw the boss. I mean, we're doing a show that's for Peacock here.
I mean, you did just say screw the boss just on microphone.
Oh, yeah, baby, I'm still here. The boss did not screw me and fire me. That's right, I made it. He understood that it was strong content being made for the Peacock and NBC. We are here. It's Week 8 NFL season, Sunday night. It's 10:25 p.m. My man Ahmed Fareed is here. What's up, big guy? How are you? You doing all right?
Good.
Feeling fresh, spry?
Not as fresh as I was last week.
Okay, a little down. Yep. Sounds like maybe had a little celebration on the road last night.
Yeah, we were in Madison, Wisconsin,
right,
watching Ohio State take on Wisconsin.
Sure.
And I came in to the truck like 3 days before the game, and I was like, I'm going to make a proclamation. Wisconsin is going to cover in this game. I go, definitely.
Right.
And I was like, they may win this game.
Yes.
I was like super confident.
Yeah.
And they ended up covering by a half a point.
Wow.
So I was right
there.
24-10
was the final?
24-10. It was 14.5.
All right, look at you, Johnny the Shark.
So I got
Did you lay down some money on it?
No, I'm not a gambler, so I didn't do any of that stuff.
All right.
But it actually was. It was cool to see Madison, Wisconsin. My first time seeing a game at Camp Randall.
Right.
They did jump around between the third and fourth quarter, which was awesome.
Oh, it seems like an all-time college moment.
It was really cool, and we got to see Marvin Harrison Jr. ball out.
That's right.
A couple touchdowns. He'll be. He could be. I think he'll be top 5 in the draft.
I would say
least.
so. That size, that speed, route runner, got it all, right?
Yep.
He's definitely
pedigree,
NFL big time. What everybody is looking for at the position, because he can play outside and win, and then he looks like he could play the slot too. So he's going to be able to do both of those things.
He did do both last night.
Right. So that's where he's really impressive that way, like you said, with his pedigree. Hey, I like the quarterback too, Kyle McCord. He's a guy that's worked with my dad and my brother a little bit growing up.
Of course.
St. Joe's, Philly. He'd come up, work with them a little bit. So, yeah, there's a little connection there. I'm rooting for him, but good for Ohio State. Good win there.
Yeah, it was fun. So I was out there having fun in Madison while you've been grinding, watching how many games?
I was having fun last night, too.
What'd you do?
Yeah, I was watching college football. Okay. I threw back a few drinks. I did. Earlier in early evening, I found my way, to a daddy cigar. So I had a good night last night. I had a great time, just like you did.
Yeah, we were both having a good time.
Got to sleep in a little this morning, and then started the long day. And, of course, 1 o'clock today was like, a frenzy. When there's 9 games on all at once.
Oh, my gosh.
As you know, I write my notes. I try to stay up to date with everything. But when there's 9 of them, it's hard. But I think we got a pretty good feel on all of them and should be able to educate the listeners here.
At some point in the day, they said, what'd you think of that Jaguars-Steelers game? And you go, they played? Did they both play? I know. It was so hard. I was going back and trying to catch up through highlights and red zone, too. And so I think we got a pretty good plan here.
I think we're good.
We'll touch all the games. That's our promise to you each and every Sunday. So here are the categories. Contender concerns. We got some statement wins out there, taking care of business, quarterback injuries. We got the Will Levis category, so that's a mystery on who's going to be in that one. We'll also have Give Me the Headlines, a quick Thursday Night Football recap, and a Monday Night Football preview.
Cool.
That is what is
Sounds like
on
a plan.
The game plan here today. So
we don't need to worry about the Sunday Night Football update this week. It's 27-7 Chargers. Okay, they're going to beat the Bears. The Bears play man-to-man every play. They don't ever back out of it.
Ooh.
The Bears should have had a touchdown on the first play of the game. I don't know why that it was never challenged, why Darnell Mooney stopped running. That certainly could have made the game a little different, but like Herbert in the offense for the Chargers, on fire, total control of this football game. Hard for me to think Tyson Bagent, as impressed as I am with him, that he can bring them back 20 points on the road. We know the Bears passing game is not exactly, something to brag about quite yet. They now have been stopped on 4th and 1 on their own territory. So this one is officially over. You won't hear another update.
Secret Bagent man
has
been exposed.
He's definitely been exposed. They didn't get this game ever into a style of play that they felt like fit the Bears. So we can just hit this one right now.
Sure.
The fact that they got behind so quickly, so early, right? They didn't let their run game kind of take over the game. They want to run the ball, chew up the clock, get up 7-0, 3-0, whatever. That's what they had a chance to do early in the football game. It's where I feel like Eberflus and company kind of messed up, not challenging that a little. But either way, their defense hasn't been able to make a stop the whole night, and Herbert and company have had their way.
Yeah, kind of a get-right game for Herbert, right?
That's right.
At this point, he is 27 of 33 for 253 yards.
It's kind of good.
Who knows how much they'll throw the ball going forward. forward.
Yeah, they'll be conservative going
forward. You weren't super
here.
concerned about him the last couple of weeks, but he
No.
probably needed this, and the team needed it.
I agree. They need it as a team. He has been real good. Watching him on film this week to prepare for the game, but not great like we're used to Justin Herbert. He's definitely has missed a few throws here and there, had a few mistakes, but also like we talk about with everybody, there's a lot on Herbert every week. They don't really run the ball. They can't play defense. They have good receivers, but I wouldn't say they're great, and so a lot's on him just standing there. Teams know they're going to throw the ball and make big throws constantly, and so when he does miss one, it kind of has a bigger shock value because usually they're playing from behind or we go, oh, he missed that. We know their defense isn't very good. That team's going to go down and score now. So it kind of magnifies his misses maybe more than other quarterbacks.
All right. Mark that one off.
That's
We've already
one
done our
done.
first one. Sunday Night Football recap.
14 more to go.
We go to the contender concerns. Ooh, do we have some concerns with other teams that we did not think we'd have concerns about? The Chiefs go down in the biggest shocker of the day. The Broncos beat them 24-9. That was a 16 straight game win streak that the Chiefs had against the Denver Broncos.
Snapped.
13 straight versus the AFC West. Snapped. 6 overall. Snapped. So it's Denver's first win versus the Chiefs since 2015, back when Peyton Manning was their quarterback. Their quarterback now, Russell Wilson, threw those 3 touchdown passes. So 5 turnovers for the Chiefs. Is that basically how this happened? How did this go down?
It did. Turnovers, settling for field goals in the red zone, that being an issue. Yeah, sloppiness by the Chiefs. Really outplayed in all areas of the football game. We've had concerns about the Chiefs. We've said this a little bit. Right, we're 3 or 4 weeks in, maybe 5 weeks, where we've gotten the offense. There's not a lot of plays within the rhythm of the offense, the normal rhythm of the offense. The thing that concerns me about the Chiefs, right? I know they put up a ton of points and yards last week against the Chargers, mainly in the first half. I get that, but even going back and studying the Chargers game for Sunday Night Football, there's very few where it's like, hey, you know how we talk about quarterback play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step drop. Oh, get it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-step, first hitch, oh, the guy's not open, move on to the second guy, oh, he's open, boom. With the Chiefs, it's not like that very often. It's not. A lot of it is Mahomes floating around, waiting for somebody to get open, and then he makes a play. But I don't know if that, is going to be a viable way to keep winning throughout. I know they're going to become a 1 or a 2 or a 3 seed in the AFC playoffs. I get that. I'm just saying the current formula, I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl that way. But this game, Ahmed, this was like, oh, yeah, we went to the World Series on Friday night. All right. We got sick. All right. Mahomes is the man. I love Mahomes. I did not love seeing him in Texas on a Friday night when he had an away game in Colorado on Sunday. That wasn't like, oh, wow. I was like, why is he doing that?
It was strange a
right?
little bit, yes.
Right? And then he's sick today, so that didn't help out. Okay. But the game started with a great punt return by the Denver Broncos that set them up for the first TD. Mahomes made some magic. They did okay. Then he gets a completion to MVS. MVS fumbles when you kind of feel like, oh, they're on the move again here. They're going to have a chance to make it 7-6 or maybe go up 10-7. That doesn't happen. And hey, Russell made a handful of big plays in the game. The very next drive was really the biggest one. He had 2 big passes to Judy. One became a touchdown. So all of a sudden they were up 14-3. And yes, it was a day where the Chiefs' offense was spotty. And that was enough to, again, the red zone troubles. Mahomes throws another interception. Mahomes, as they're driving, kind of loses where he's in the pocket. He makes a few people miss. Somebody finally gets there from behind, strip sack, fumble. So it was one of those days where the Chiefs were frustrating, where you go, they could have been better. It kind of looks like they went into the game a little too confident or whatever else. Mm-hmm. It was a big game for the Broncos. They're sick of hearing about the losing streak to the Chiefs and all of that. And credit to Vance Joseph, because the D, again, it was 4 weeks ago, there was 70 points, right? They've played the Chiefs 2 out of the last 3 weeks, and they've let up 28 points total in the 2 games. And the 19 in that Thursday night game were not easy. So they've done the right things there. Good by Vance Joseph, kind of, figuring some things out there.
And having said all that, I was watching this game, and it was 14-9.
Right.
After that blocked field goal. Remember that?
Right.
And it looked like Kansas City was going to take over. There was a 3rd and 5, and Mahomes just overshot Justin Watson on the sideline. Could have been a huge play. That would have got him down by the goal line. We're talking late in the 3rd quarter here.
Yes, right.
You get there, you make that play, you take the lead. It's a completely different ball game. Now, Denver did not take advantage after that possession, after that punt. But then the next punt, the punt was muffed, and then it was like they recovered in short field.
Right,
and
punt.
scored
McCole
there.
Hardman fumbles the punt on the 5-yard line. They go in, I think, 2-play drive, touchdown, 21-9. And if I remember correctly, too, the Chiefs drive the ball right down the field. They have a 4th down around the 25-yard line. He throws a great pass to Sky Moore in the back left corner of the end zone. Would have been a tough catch, but still a catch you expect NFL wide receivers to make, and you go, oh, that game would have been different there. Either way, they didn't come up with that opportunity. But I think you kind of said it, I said it, right? You know, it was sloppy. It was sloppy. The Broncos did a good job of taking care of the ball. They ran the ball well, or I should say they were patient with the run. That chewed up some clock. They were okay on 3rd downs. But, yes, 3 for 10 on 3rd downs for Kansas City, 275 yards of total offense. That's not a Kansas City day. And then you add on 5 turnovers to go with that. Yeah, bad day by Kansas City. Definitely going to have to get back to the drawing board on that one.
We'll let Plug and Play 16 get a word in on the pod here. He says Chris, Ahmed, Pete, Kristen, and crew, and that does include Gabby, Morgan, and Mackenzie here on a Sunday night. He goes, damn okay. Denver Broncos, big signature win for Sean Payton heading into the bye. And what a performance by Baron Browning. 2 sacks, forced a fumble, relentless. Love the pod. Have a good night. Go Broncos.
Hey, you're the man. Thank you. You have a good night, too. But this is why Randy Gregory's not there anymore. This is why Frank Clark is not there anymore. They got these guys and Barrett Browning and Bonito coming off the edge that are their future. These are the next guys right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're going, no, we got the future here. Frank Clark, Randy Gregory, you're good, but, you know, you're kind of on the end of your career here. So they got some young talent to kind of play with there in Denver. And, yeah, good for them. It was a signature win for Sean Payton. And even though Russell Wilson wasn't pretty, you know, got touchdowns and didn't have the big blunder towards the end of the game or anything like that we've seen a few times this year that kind of solidified the win for the Broncos.
Shout out to Georgia, too, who was in today. Part of our crew is a little bit under the weather today because they were at the World Series probably with
they were hanging out with
Kelsey,
Mahomes.
perhaps.
Right. Look at that. They're getting everybody sick.
I don't want to make any allegations.
Don't bring that stuff to here, okay?
Congratulations to the Denver Broncos. That is a signature win, the first one for Sean Payton at the helm. The Bengals are back. They beat the 49ers 31-17. They have won 4 of 5 games since starting the season 0-2. So is it true?
Yes.
Is Joe Burrow back?
I think he's back. I think I would officially say he's back after this one. I've been like, I know in other games I've been like, they're close, or I like some things, right?
We're like, he's back with a question mark, but now we're like, he's back.
We're like, no, he's back, and like 3 exclamation points. Like the other one was like question mark exclamation point. We're not sure, we think, whatever. By far the best the Bengals looked all year. By far. This game shouldn't have been as close as it was. I mean, the Bengals missed a chip shot field goal. The Bengals fumbled at the 1-yard line once going into score on a little like pick play by Irv Smith, the tight end. It was a fun game to watch.
It was.
It really was,
It was
right?
like heavyweight offenses.
It was
for
heavyweight,
a good portion
right?
of the game.
I mean, Burrow was great. Brock Purdy made a number of big-time throws and plays, too. I know we'll talk about some of his mistakes and all that, but damn, he made some plays, too. But I still think the star of the day was the fact that the Bengals protected Burrow pretty well throughout. Right? I know it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a day where it was like, oh, if he doesn't throw to the first guy, he's going to get his head knocked off, right? I mean, it wasn't that. But that was good. His movement, that's where you go, he's back. I mean, his ability to move and buy some time or scramble or get out of the pocket or whatever, you know, those extra few things right there, that's a huge weapon for their football team. Is there a reason we've been calling him a slippery son of a bitch for the last 3-4 years, right? I mean, he's amazing that way. He's got 6 cents in the pocket. And then, you know what we saw today? And, you know, I knew this was a tough matchup with the 49ers. I've been saying it all week. I didn't have the guts to pick the Bengals, right? But like we saw the week before with the Vikings against the 49ers, and we broke it down a little bit on the pod last week.
Yeah.
You know, Zach Taylor, he's kind of from that McVay, O'Connell coaching tree. You know, I'm going to be interested to watch this back because they seemed like they had all the answers for the 49ers zones once again. The 49ers want to play zone almost all the time. And you give Joe Burrow a little time, he's the best zone quarterback in football. You heard me say that last year. I've never seen anybody who can read the zone quicker, make a quicker decision, move people with his eyes, and then come back to a guy. He diced them up. I mean, at one point in the game, I want to say he was like 19 for 20 or something like that. I mean, it was something ridiculous. It's the 49ers we're talking about. And what that did, I mean, him picking apart the zones, doing that. They had a little success running the ball. And then what happened? We saw the 49ers get a little scared. They go, damn, he's going to pick us apart all day. We got to play some man. And then all of a sudden a big play or two happens to Jamar Chase down the football field. You couple that with the Bengals D that we know is really well coached, game plan specific, creative, all that, right? They forced a few turnovers. Bengals, yes, I think that off the bye week, look like they've turned the corner for the good here, and you're going to start looking like the team we thought they would.
So Joe Burrow has 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions during this 3-game winning streak, had those 3 touchdowns today, and that does take us to Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS. Dramatic pause just to get into it. Closer look at Joe Burrow and the passing chart here. So the numbers say this. He completed 28 of 32 passes, 283 yards, those 3 touchdowns, generating a career high of plus 17.8 completion percentage over expected in the Bengals win. So they kind of look at the difficulty of pass, where the receiver is, where the defender is. How often should that pass be completed? He completed about 17% more than he should have in this game.
There was definitely some tight window throws he made. But like, you know, again, where I think, hey, the general public sometimes, you just go, oh, yeah, another throw, another completion. Guys like me and Jason Garrett, when we're watching – you know, those some of the throws he made that I think these stats are talking about. That's where, you know, I'm not saying, you know, I'm the most trained eye in the world, but it's those throws that go, oh my gosh, where, you know, I try to tell people, like some of the throws we see from Mahomes or Josh Allen or Herbert or whatever, it's next level throws. It's not just like, oh, that's another completion over the middle. And yeah, some of the throws he made today, just kind of feeling a receiver going into a second window, and you'd see Fred Warner or somebody dive in, and you're like, oh my gosh, he got it in there. Holy cow. Really, really well done. And, you know, like I said, not only protecting well enough, but then also moving the 49ers off the ball in the run game too. So it wasn't like they could just play pass after play after play after play. He looked really great today.
Yes.
And it looks like they've gotten a rhythm in the offense. And they're at least short passing game and throwing the ball to Jamar Chase. And slowly but surely, what are we seeing? We're starting to see everybody else start to get involved, and the whole offense is starting to, you know, cycle and really look awesome out there.
Yeah, Joe Mixon looked like his old self.
Right?
16 carries, 87 yards, over 5 yards per rush. We have something else on Joe Burrow here, too, because it wasn't just, you know, finding the guys at short distance and hitting the windows inside of 10 yards. It was the plus 10-yard air yard throws, plus 10 air yard throws that really were significant for Joe Burrow. You see what he had done in weeks 1 through 4, just completing 28% of those passes, but weeks 5 through 8, he's completing 60% of those passes, 4 touchdowns on such throws.
Didn't get to play in the preseason. Didn't get to practice at all through training camp, right? You know, really was limited even early in the regular season with how much he could practice because of this damn calf injury. I think you're seeing Joe finally get into the, like, okay, I'm in the groove of the season just like everybody else, let alone like we've talked about. When their offense starts to get a feel for how defenses play, they start to, you know, oh, wait, they play this? Okay, we got these plays we like in this coverage. Joe gets them in it. They execute the right way. They add a wrinkle or two every week to now here we are 4 weeks later, and you go, okay, hey, there's a few wrinkles in the offense now, right? The things that were annoying me a little bit. And yeah, I think Burrow also, what adds to that stat is his movement again too. You know, a few times sliding in the pocket or getting out of the pocket. Now the linebackers get sucked up because they're worried about tackling him. Boom, he throws it behind him. But he was feeling it today. Yeah. And he answered the bell in a big way. Their whole team did. And of course, that goes even to the defensive side as well.
That was Inside the Numbers, powered by AWS. One final thing. We have a request from Bozeman Baker, a homie out there. Bozeman, hey, welcome to the show. He says this to us. Pete, do we have the tweet? Can we bring up the tweet here? He goes, enough. Between Sunday Night Football, Pro Football Talk on Peacock, Chris Simms is broadcasting for NBC at least 6 days a week during the season. Feels like more than that even. Until Chris can prove his ability to pronounce the Bengals correctly and not as the Bengals, please suspend Chris Simms without pay.
Damn, you want to suspend me, Bozeman?
Look at this photo. He made this photo himself. It is you, if you are listening.
Damn, you want to suspend me? All the love. I'm always talking about the Bengals. Yeah. I love Joe Burrow. I mean, I'll be cool with the Bengals girls, though. Don't worry. I'm cool with that. You're not embarrassing me. I'll try to work on it. I don't mean – I grew up saying the damn word.
No. It's your thing.
It's
your thing. You've been doing it for so long now. You have to just do it. Bengals. Big play Bengals.
All
just
right.
rolls off the tongue.
Hey, Jefferson Baker, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it.
For all 6 days.
You want to suspend me without play? Damn.
Yeah.
You're kind of Roger Goodell-ish right there. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, the fines are coming next. Pete says it sounds like he's having a manic Monday, which I'm assuming is a song by the Bengals, right? Is that what that is?
Yes, that is.
I'm not Mr.
Right.
Pop
Way to get up
culture.
with things there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
hey, other thing we got to hit on in this football game.
Yes.
You know, you talked about Purdy. Purdy made a lot of big-time throws, right? But we're seeing here the 49ers defense, some of the D linemen are not popping the way they should, right? That's for one. That would be one of the big things in the defense. Two, I think Steve Wilks, as I've been saying, is still kind of getting used to how the 49ers want to do and call things and putting his own little, style or wrinkle on the whole thing,
But
right?
it's not like the 49ers weren't carved up by teams at times last year,
No, they
right?
definitely went through some spots, right? There was a spot there like week 12, 13, 14 last year. Remember the Raiders? I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
With the Stetson Bennett tore them up. I mean, they've had some moments like this. They got to tinker a little bit. It is a lot of zone, and when you play that much zone and your pass rush isn't kicking butt, you play a quarterback like Joe Burrow, he's going to tear you up. That's where if I'm the 49ers, I might be thinking about, is there a corner out there I can get in a trade deadline this week? But we'll also see with the 49ers, a little too much on Purdy the last 3 weeks. I think that's the other thing I come away with. No Debo, no McCaffrey. I mean, McCaffrey, the running game, not quite what we know it to be. They're not dominating in that area. And now it's becoming, Brock Purdy's real good. Don't get me wrong. But he's not, again, the guy that's like, hey, carry me. I get on my back, guys. If I got to throw it 30-plus times and 370, I'll make it happen and we'll win the game. He'll make a lot of plays. He'll do a lot of things well. But as you saw, the two interceptions were both bad. One was going in to score.
On back-to-back throws, too.
One was going in to score. One was backed up on the very next drive, right?
First
and
play.
then that became a touchdown. Then that very next play to Jamar Chase. He threw an interception at the end of the game and got lucky with a roughing the passer call. But then he ended up fumbling the very next play after that.
Yeah.
My point is that Purdy's real good, but he's not John Elway yet, where you're just like, hey, carry the team here. And, the running game, no Debo, I do think has hurt them a little bit. I'm still not giving up on the 49ers, of course. But I definitely didn't think we were going to be sitting here going to the bye week after week 5 when they were 5-0, beating the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. And me and clearly everybody just about football was like, they're clearly the best team in football. They blow a game in Cleveland where they probably should have won it. But then the last 2 weeks, we're outplayed by the Vikings and the Bengals, and that's a little concerning for sure.
It was Jarrett Stidham who tore him up, not
That's
Stetson
right.
Bennett.
All right. Did I say Stetson Bennett?
You did.
I did.
He was still at Georgia, I think, at that time.
Yes, he was. Yes,
I was like, that's impressive. I was like, even college quarterbacks were carving him up.
Sorry
about
about
wait
that.
a second. So a big win for the Cincinnati Bengals, who are back. The big play Bengals are back, and so is Joe Burrow. Now time to move on to the statement wins category, and I would say this is a statement win for the Seattle Seahawks, beating the Cleveland Browns by 4. It had to be a comeback win for them, which in the beginning of this game did not look like that was going to be the case. They go touchdown off of a Cleveland fumble and a field goal in their first 3 possessions. Then they basically stall out until their backs were against the wall, needing a drive at the end of the game. The defense got a stop, and then Zach Charbonnet ran off a couple good runs to get them in range. Seattle got an interception with Julian Love then, and that's what really set them up for Jackson Smith and Jigba to get the wide receiver screen for the game-winning touchdown. So they have won 5 of their last 6 games now. They have a half-game lead on the 49ers for the NFC West. Oh, boy.
I know. Got some things that are interesting here.
Are they in pole position here now for the NFC West?
They're talented. They're dangerous. That's for sure. Their defense is chaotic and makes plays and does that. And we know their offense has got playmakers. We've talked about their own line and the tackle being injured and all that. I don't think they're even playing at their best yet. But I'd be scared of the Seahawks if I was anybody else in the NFC. One, we know they're crazy. Coached by Pete Carroll, they're chewing gum and excited every day of the week, and they're always ready to play football, right?
Are they all chewing gum?
I don't know that.
It
just seems like you have to.
He's like, chew gum.
But, you talk about a game of perseverance, really. You kind of said it. Up 17-7 early, and then, after the first quarter, the Seahawks couldn't do anything on the offensive side of the ball for the most part. There was really nothing to speak of. And the Browns, it felt like, kind of controlled the game from that point on. And especially as we got into the second half, it was the Browns seemed like they were dominating time of possession. Every time I looked up, they had the ball. They were moving the ball. Every time I looked up, it looked like the Seahawks were punting it. And, P.J. Walker made a few big plays, certainly. But, yeah, his interception to Woolen, which was a big moment because Woolen, I don't know if you saw this play. He caught an interception where P.J. Walker had somebody open. It was either on third or fourth down. He had a shallow cross. He overthrows it. Woolen catches it. And Njoku hits what to me looked like he hit the ball before he hits anything else while he's on the ground and knocks it out. I guess they deemed he touched Woolen somewhere, which now makes him down, right? But that was a moment where the Browns were in field goal territory or on fringe territory, so that left some points on the board, right? The strip sack early in the football game like you talked about, that gave the short field to the Seahawks to give them 7 points. The Browns defense still did some really good things. And then ultimately, the thing that's going to be vetted is the last interception where – hey, they're up 20-17. I understand they're trying to put the game away. I get that. But they throw a ball over the middle on a slant route that, was a lot of people there. It was a short pass. They're trying to just, get the first down on a 3rd and 3. They're at the 41-yard line. And I can't remember who it was, but the ball got kind of tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Hawkstrologer says, damn okay to Julian Love for catching the pass. Jamal Adams' helmet deflected with 1 minute left in the fourth to give the offense a chance to win the game.
I just, 2 minutes, 4 seconds. I get the play call. I get it. I do. I'm not mad at that. It's just the Browns, I just want to say what I would always say. Just err on conservative always. Your defense is like out of this world good. All right, so that's where I just go, be careful with taking chances. And see, what do I always say? Like, sometimes these teams think, oh, let's do something conservative. And they go, let's throw a pass 4 yards down the field over the middle. And I want to go, it's not as conservative as you think. There's a bunch of hands and bodies and like people in those situations, they're playing for the short throw anyways. It's not as high percentage as you think.
Throw it 40 yards down the field and get an
or
interception.
Send a bunch of people 40 yards downfield and throw someone shallow. Or maybe do that, like you're saying. Take a shot. Maybe you get pass interference. If you don't, so what? You're going to punt the ball and you're going to make them have to drive the field to get a field goal. But I'm not like pissed at the play. It's just, again, that was just a great play by the Seahawks in a big moment there and kind of a shocking way. I did not think they were going to win the game, but they were clutch on that last drive and made a few plays, and Jigma got the touchdown.
There was another play at the end of the third quarter. Cameron Mitchell dropped what could have been a huge pick six against Geno, and that was with the Browns up by 3 at that point, so they could have gone up 10. And so that was a huge momentum shifter potentially in the other direction. So, big win. Hawkstrologer did also want to know how did the Hawks manage to survive versus that Browns pass rush?
I mean,
we'll have to take a look at it.
Well, it wasn't easy, that's for sure. I think for the most part, I know Geno, I saw the one pick to Emerson. He had the other one that got tipped in the air by the Maurice Hurst, right, and intercepted it, right? But, I think he played it smart. He threw some balls away. Threw some balls at guys' feet when he knew, it's getting a little hairy inside there altogether. But he hung in there for the most part. I think that's really the big thing. And, the Seahawks, that's what I do love about them, and that's what Pete has instilled in them, is they fly around for 4 quarters. And they're going to make you play throughout. And even though things weren't good for about 2 quarters in a row, they kind of hung in there. The defense made a play, and that kind of jump-started them, and they go down and get the win. That's where they're scary. They're a momentum team that can flip it at any minute, and they got guys on both sides of the ball that can go above and beyond the scheme. And that, to me, is always scary because you got a guy like Woolen or Witherspoon, Jordan Brooks with the big strip sack when he came on the blitz. They got Jamal Adams, as we know, right? So they got some dudes over there that are going to scare any elite team in the NFL, and good for the Seahawks to keep battling there today.
So in 3 games without Deshaun Watson starting, the Browns are 1-2 with 14 points per game, and we know that he will get back into the starting lineup at some point in the future.
Yeah,
that's all we know.
That's all we know.
At some point in the future, we think he could be back in the starting lineup.
It's all odd, the whole situation. I get that, but as I said all last week, I'm not questioning Deshaun Watson in this category. Like, we can question with a lot of things in life or whatever else. Toughness on the football field is not a question with that guy. I can tell you that. Now, where this stinks is Here we're going another long period of time of Deshaun Watson not playing football, and that scares me. To where now he's going to get back and they're going to be like, well, we got to kind of bring Deshaun along. And you're at the part of the season where we don't want to bring anybody along, let alone our starting quarterback at this point and again, right? So that scares me a little bit when he does get back in the fold.
So a loss for the Browns, win for the Seahawks, a win for the Jacksonville Jaguars, defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-10. It is Jacksonville's best start. They're 6-2 since 1999. They lead the AFC South by 2.5 games right now. I think the player of the game in this one, I think you would probably agree with me, he was the big play guy. Travis Etienne.
Yes.
79
no
yards
doubt.
on the ground. They fed him quite often through the air as well. Ripped off that big 56-yarder, 70 yards total through the air. Travis Etienne, a playmaker. And they didn't have a whole lot of big plays. They had, Evan Ingram had one, I think, later in the game.
Yep.
But they got just enough offense, and the defense was rock solid against the Steelers.
Well, it was a typical Steelers game. I mean, it was typical. It was literally like they're getting their ass whooped, and we're sitting here, and the game's 9-3. 6-3 forever. I mean, that's where it just is incredible. It really is. But I'll say what I've been saying about the Jags. The Jags are impressive. They have everything. They got balance on offense. They're becoming more big plays in the passing game, right? ATN is one of the best running backs in football in both the run game and the pass game. He's special that way. Their defense is suffocating at times, right? Now, again, what comes down to the Jaguars, and we see this a few times this year. We saw it in the Saints game on Thursday night a few weeks ago. You saw it again here today. Just mistakes and moments where they're about to control the football game. Whether Trevor throws a horrible interception.
That was bad.
Right?
Yeah.
You saw that?
It was back foot fading away.
It was zone coverage. I think he thought it was man. He just threw it up, and he was like, here, DeMonte Kazee, you can have the ball in the end zone. Another time they were driving, and they do a shovel pass to Evan Ingram. As he kind of catches the shovel pass, he fumbles. That was another big moment in the game. Bigsby, the backup running back, when ATN, they were checking him out for a little injury at one point. He fumbled. So, it was one of those games where you were going, wait, the Jags are clearly dominating, but are the Steelers going to do this again? Like, are they just going to hang around and find some magical way to do this? Stinks that Pickett got hurt. Maybe it would have increased their chances to pull magic if he was in there. Trubisky made some unbelievable plays and throws, but of course had the interceptions. And ultimately, it's the same thing with the Steelers. It's just too much on their defense and special teams, and Mike Tomlin having to we just got to hit harder, right? They hit harder than everybody. It's hard to win in the NFL the way they're playing right now, with no consistency on offense, never really a run game, and the pass game just has moments here or there. And that definitely has to improve for Pittsburgh to get where they want to get.
Yeah, their defense broke on that long one to ETN. I don't know exactly what happened.
It was a miscommunication.
The safety, corner misplayed it, probably the safety.
Yeah. It was sometimes these teams, they play quarters, but if they see somebody go to the flat, they'll call it quarters trap, and all of a sudden it'll become cover two. And it's like Joey Porter saw the guy coming to the flat, and he kind of played it like that, but Kazee didn't play over the top. He kind of looked like he was playing his guy man-to-man. So definitely some sort of communication. Great job by Trevor, though, seeing it. And then ATN is smooth in the pass game. He really is. Jaguars, don't get it messed up here now. The Jaguars are one of the best teams in football. As I've said, I will continue to say, they are one of the best teams in the NFL. And like I said, it's not perfect. We've been saying they're young and everything else there, but they have everything in my book to go to a Super Bowl and be that type of team. They really do. I think their youth is the only thing you question.
Yeah. They outgained Pittsburgh 377 to 261. So Pittsburgh is one of two teams to be outgained in every game this season, and yet they are 4-3.
It's amazing.
The other team that's been outgained in every game this season, who do you think it is?
Oh, let me just give me a look. Let me pull out the teams. Ooh, I'm gonna
mid-pod trivia.
Damn. All right. I'm gonna say. I was gonna say the Bears, but I'm gonna say the Giants.
Not the Giants.
No.
Your Arizona Cardinals.
Wow, it is the Cardinals.
I didn't think the other team. Oh, it's on the bottom line right there. So the homies.
Damn, look at that.
Sorry, homies, we gave it away on the graphic. But
I wouldn't have guessed that with the Cardinals. They've kind of been sneaky better than you expect on
I agree with
offense.
that.
But now you think about it and you go, yeah, but maybe it's not been as good as I think. It's just beating our expectations.
They're in there.
Right.
Kenny Pickett left in the second quarter with a rib injury, so we'll see how long he is out. I
hope
don't know.
he's okay. Yeah, he put the elbow, like the elbow down.
Yes.
And whenever I see that, I always worry about labrum. So it was good to hear that they were thinking ribs.
Okay.
Hoping he just like pulled some muscles underneath that armpit there, which can happen too. Be a little sensitive, might make him miss a game, but hopefully they averted disaster.
So that closes the book on the statement wins category. Now we open up the book on the taking care of business category. We start with the Miami Dolphins, who defeat the New England Patriots. 31-17 was the score in this one. Tyreek Hill has 1,014 receiving yards, the most receiving yards through 8 games since Charlie Hennigan in 1961. I was thinking that too.
I thought it was Charlie Hennigan too.
And
I really did.
I was like sitting there and I was like, man,
damn, who did Charlie play for?
He's looking like Charlie Hennigan. Well, we all know who Charlie Hennigan played for. Pete, who Charlie Hennigan played for? Was it the Oilers?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It is AFL Oilers. It has to be an AFL.
I'm gonna be transparent about this. I'm just learning about Charlie Hennigan and the fact that he played.
Don't worry. I've only heard the name. I wouldn't have guessed anything like that. So you're not crazy there.
So there it is. Charlie Hennigan with the Oilers in 1961. Elroy Hirsch.
Yeah.
In
Crazy Legs
1950.
Hirsch.
Crazy Legs Hirsch. Yeah. Don Hudson.
Yeah, another baller.
Green Bay Packers in 1942. And then you got Tyreek Hill. We should get them all in a room together. I think that would be a cool room. I don't know how many of them are still alive.
I'm not sure
I hope all of them. I hope all of them.
I don't think they are. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
I mean, Hudson was playing in 42, so I don't think he's there anymore.
Care of his body, maybe.
But maybe
you never know.
Maybe he's 100.
Right?
He'd be 100 probably.
I hope he's. Pete, let's try to confirm. Let's try
but
to
either
confirm
way,
that.
yeah, that was. He's so special.
So Bill Belichick's supposed to be able to take away what you do best.
8 for 112 isn't a bad day when it comes to defending Tyreek Hill right now, right? What I think kills the Patriots is like you make that manageable, but you're doing that, you're not expecting, oh, wait, Waddle's going to go for 7 for 121 too? That's the problem. They did an okay job stopping the run. They made Tua look a little uncomfortable at some moments, but there's just not enough good players on that Patriots defense to slow that group down there right now. They're a little different than they were in week 2 when they played the Dolphins. They were full secondary health. Matt Judon was healthy. Uche was healthy. None of these guys are there right now. So that's an issue for them as they go forward. And then even saying all of that, they had some chances to make the game interesting and competitive. They're in the red zone. It's 14-7.
Yeah.
And Mac strikes again. I mean, Mac Jones has become like a poster child for at least one of the dumbest turnovers of the week on a weekly basis right now. And they run a little like fake screen, throw up the field, and they're thinking Jalen Ramsey's going to follow the post route. But Jalen Ramsey's smart. He's been around football before. He knows his job is not to follow the post route. So he comes off it, and Mac Jones hits him right in the chest. That was a big moment of the football game. It was 14-7. You're going, okay, the Patriots are hanging in there. And then, of course, that became nothing. And then the Dolphins went down to get a field goal to make it 17-7. And you just kind of felt like the Patriots were chasing ever since that point. And, it's unfortunate. They did some good things today, certainly, but they just don't have enough good players to hang with a team like the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, Finn Sports says, damn okay. Jalen Ramsey returning that fast from a full meniscus repair and playing that well. Arm. A couple emojis out there, too.
Yeah,
so
Jalen's
how much will he help that defense?
He's going to help them out in big ways. First off, they're not a huge man-to-man defense, right? But like he can do multiple things. That's the good thing about Jalen. He's kind of like a secondary hybrid guy. If you wanted to go like big nickel on 2nd and 10, he can play nickel and be a really quality tackler, right? He's still got great ball skills. He's got great length and man-to-man coverage and all that. Like I said in the offseason, he's really one of the top secondary players. Do I think he's one of the best island corners in football? No, absolutely not. He's down the list considerably. That's why he was only traded for a 3rd rounder. But he's going to help them out, definitely. I mean, yes, he's smart as hell. Like I said, Fangio, for the most part, wants to play zones. He'll learn how to read routes, jump routes, do all of that, And then I think their pass rush is going to turn the corner here, hopefully, with Jalen Phillips continue to be healthy. yeah, the Dolphins are still one of the elite teams in football.
For the Patriots at 2-6, it's their worst start since the year 2000. Tua improves to 6-0 in his career.
He
versus
owns
the Patriots.
Belichick.
How about that?
He owns them.
That is a notch in the belt. And we do have an early front runner for costume of the year. So I think we have a kid in the stands.
This was phenomenal.
In Miami, who was dressed as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
He
Pete,
was not
do we
in
have
the stands, but it's all right.
Pete's
It's all right.
back there.
He's back
frantically
there.
trying to pull up.
He's
the
like the
picture.
Wizard of Oz, Pete. He's behind a green curtain. He's turning wheels and plowing smoke.
So this is when after the interview,
Right.
where
They
he
did the
ran
run.
in, tried to run our camera. Oh, that is
And
perfect.
this cutie pie right here, which he is some cute kid.
I
He
love
emulates it perfectly.
With the
same clothes. Same Rolex watch. Look at the Rolex watch hanging off his wrist. Right, looks at the camera, takes off. Probably a little faster than Mike McDaniel.
He might be.
You know, probably a little stronger than him too. Mike's a little frail.
Oh, that is perfect. I mean, the attention to detail on this is amazing.
Phenomenal. It really is. I love seeing the people dress up as the coaches. That's become a thing in the NFL. There's the guy in the stands I think you were thinking of.
Yes.
That dresses up like Mike McDaniel's the Miami games all the time too. So maybe that's what you're
getting. And the Andy Reid's too.
Andy Reid's is perfect. That's right.
We had I was going to say in Madison we had a Luke Fickell.
You had a Luke Fickell today?
Luke Fickell. You look actually
pretty close to it.
A lot like
There's a
Luke
bunch
Fickell.
of Ditkas in the crowd today in Chicago and the LA crowd there, so that's cool. But good for Miami. Hey, Miami we know is real good.
Yep.
How good is real good is the question. Okay, what everybody and their mother says to me right now is, yeah, but who've the Dolphins beat? Right, that's what I get every time I go to the gym and I talk to Joey Meathead Jet fan. All right,
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but who the Dolphins beat? I mean, yeah, they're good, but they're beating up on, these bad teams in the NFL. I still think they're really good. Next week will be a great test in Germany against Mahomes and the pissed-off Chiefs. It'll be fun to see.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
That'll be a tough matchup for the Chiefs. I think Miami matches up really well with them. I look at Miami's schedule with the Raiders, the Jets, the Commanders, the Titans, the Jets again. I have a hard time looking at it and thinking that there's not going to be a lot more wins on their schedule here. And some of the areas that we think maybe they need to get better on, defense, all of that, hey, they're going to get there. They are. I don't have any doubt that they're one of the better teams in football.
Dolphins take care of business against the Patriots. The Baltimore Ravens took care of business once again. They swept up on my Detroit Lions last week and did not have the same margin of victory in this game against the Cardinals, just a touchdown when it was all said and done. Some garbage time points a little bit for Arizona at the end of this one, but Baltimore is allowing just 15.3 points per game during their 3-game win streak. They're scoring many, many points, 38 last week against my Lions, 31 this week. There was a key play. Geno Stone got an interception, his third straight game with an interception when it was a one-score game.
Right.
But that pretty much sealed it and led to a short field goal. And Gus Edwards was almost unstoppable in this game. You said it last week. The Baltimore Ravens, they're now 6-2. You talk about them as being one of the top 3 teams in the NFL.
I think so. They got a little bit like Jacksonville, except there's a little more veteran battle-testedness with the Ravens. But I don't look at the Ravens as anything and going, where's the weakness? You tell me. Again, what you saw today, the defense was phenomenal, right? I mean, Arizona outgained the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were not at their best. They had one of those games where they were in some short fields and whatever else, and they're playing the Cardinals and probably were a little conservative, knowing they were the better team, right? They were up 24-7 at one point and kind of doing it the right way, slow suffocation, not taking chances. So what if we got to kick a field goal, right? They've lost a few games this year, being a little over-aggressive. So I think they learned their lesson in that department. Still showed the ability to run the ball, as we know. But, yeah, I mean, you talked about the turnovers, Geno Stone. There's a 4th down stop around midfield. There was another 4th down stop. I'm trying to remember when the Cardinals were kind of in field goal territory, right? So the Ravens defense, size, creativity, playmakers, everything there. And, the offense, not their best day. We know that. Cardinals defense is a pain in the ass. It is. I mean, Jonathan Gannon's showing he's coaching that defense, and they got good game plans on a weekly basis. But yeah, it felt like the Ravens a little bit got into, we know we're better than you. We're not going to mess the game up instead of trying to make big plays in the game. And I think that kind of threw them out of rhythm on the offensive side of the ball too.
Good eagle eye by you too that the Cardinals did outgain the Ravens, and so now the Steelers, Pete, are the only team in the NFL who has not outgained.
Oh, there you go.
Their
Way to put it
opposition.
together. Look at
Right?
you hosting the show and
Right?
everything. Look at
Connect
that.
the dots.
Boom.
That's what I do. That's
Damn
what
guy
I do
is connecting the dots.
Connect the dots
But
here.
yeah, I you know, and you know, like it's 31-24. But let's make sure we convey this the right way.
Yes.
Garbage time touchdown. They get the onside kick miraculously, and then kick a long field goal, right? I had the fucking Ravens to cover, and they didn't fucking cover now because they let up 10 points in the last minute and a half, okay?
Yeah.
So they lose that, but either way, yeah, my feelings of the Ravens don't change.
As competitive as the Cardinals have been, it is their worst start at 1-7 since 2006. They are averaging just 15.5 points per game during their 5-game losing streak.
If it's the most impressive 1-7 team I feel like I've ever
think
seen.
so, yeah.
Every week I'm like, whoa, they're not as good as this team, and they're kind of hanging in there. I'm really interested to see if Kyler Murray comes back next week, as well as Josh Dobbs has done. As you heard me say early in the year, you know, when they were in the early stages surprising us, there was still plays on film I'd go, damn, if they had Kyler Murray, that would have been a 50-yard completion. Instead, we got a check down for 4 or whatever. You know, Josh Dobbs, he's a great backup. He's all that. But he's still a backup. And whether it's mistakes or missed opportunities for some big plays, they show up in every game. I'm interested to see what Kyler looks like in this offense because like we've talked about, they got some weapons and some guys that are a little scary.
I mean, it would break the internet if he is traded here in the next few days.
I know. I can't imagine that happening, but – I don't know.
There's so many teams
trade
that
deadline coming up here. I
There's
don't know
so
what to
many
expect.
teams that now you
Need a
throw the
quarterback.
Vikings in there, and
Right.
I don't know.
So I mean, they're just
It doesn't seem like the Cardinals feel like he is necessarily part of their future. Like isn't that the vibe you get?
Especially before the year. I mean, I've been told by some people that I really trust throughout the NFL that they just totally have their eye on Caleb Williams, and that's
Sure.
where they wanted to go with this. You know. But at the same time, I kind of got thought through the year here, hey, they're pretty good. And don't they want to at least see what he looks like in this offense and how they orchestrate some things here? Do you want to, you know, necessarily, what if you don't get the number 1 pick? And you had your eyes on Caleb Williams. How many assets are you going to have to trade to get him to get to the number 1 pick now? These are all things that they got to think about. Unless he gets traded, though, I would expect to see him next week because they can't tell him not to play when he's been cleared to play and he's healthy.
Right. All right. So the Ravens get the win that was more than the score indicated. The Eagles get a win that was by 7 points, and this one was actually about what the score indicated, if not even closer than this. They get the 38-31 win against the Washington Commanders, who put up a good fight and were up early in this game. But for Philly, it is their 5th win this season by 9 points or fewer, so they've played in a lot of these close games up to this point. And the formula for them, once they got rolling, was more of the same. We saw Jalen Hurts have his first career game with 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and his favorite target, once again, that guy that can make one-handed catches over 2 other defenders, A.J. Brown.
I mean, I know we talked about Tyreek Hill, but, like, this guy it's unreal. I mean, it's every week. It's every week. And it's not like the offense is, like, doing all these things for him where you're like, he's just wide open. It's just like they throw a slant and he breaks 4 tackles or they throw a jump ball and he's like, raw, I'm going to catch it or one-handed or whatever and then dunk on you. I mean, he's unbelievable. You know, the physicality he has at receiver is rare. You just don't see that much in the NFL. You know, Washington did some really good things. I mean, it's crazy. Washington, for some reason, seems like they can block and play offense better against the Eagles than they can against the rest of the NFL, right?
Yes.
I mean, what were we going to say? Go ahead.
Washington's offense is fun for me to watch.
It is
like
fun.
They have so many talented skill players.
Yes.
That I like Sam Howell a lot when he's rolling, but early on in the game, Brian Robinson runs hard.
No
McLaurin,
doubt.
of course, you know about him. Jahan Dotson, I always liked him
making big
coming
plays
out.
in the pass game, right? I mean, they
have
it
so
rolling.
many fun playmakers on offense.
That's where it's like last week against the Giants. You're like, how does that offense do that against the Giants, right? I know the Giants' D is good and all that, and we'll get to that. But, I mean, at one point during the game, I think, and maybe I'm wrong, Howell was like 20 for 21. I mean, he was dicing them up. They were having their way with the Eagles in the pass game. So that was a little concerning. And as we've talked about with Philly can get into a little tendency of being a little simple on the defensive side of the ball and making it a little too easy on quarterbacks altogether. But still, I think it comes back to the Eagles. The Eagles are just so damn good, you know, where it just it feels like you can't be right defending them. That's where it really feels.
Yeah.
You almost just hope like, hey, maybe we can get Jalen on a bad day. I hope we can just get a turnover because it just never feels like you can stop them. Even on this day today, like, I know they made some stops, but we had Gainwell fumble, right, as they were kind of going in. I think he was kind of going in to score at one point. They fumbled on the 5-yard line. You had Jalen fumble the tush push on the 1-yard line going in. They fumbled the snap, right? So there they were, and you're still going, damn, they still left 14 points on the board, and they still were kind of unstoppable on the offensive side of the ball. Jason Garrett made this point where, and I think it's a great point, like the 49ers have showed they kind of need to play a certain way to win where, it can't be too much on Brock Purdy like we're talking about, and they need to kind of get a lead and then their defense can fly around. The Eagles have shown the versatility of like it doesn't matter. We've said we'd like to see them stay more patient when they run and stuff like that. But still, even in those games, it's not like, we didn't think they could win or not do it. They still make so many plays no matter what. And, today, of course, the defense making plays to get them up by 14 and the big turnover, all right? I mean, Howell, as awesome as he played, the interception to Blankenship.
That was where it turned.
That's where it turned, right? And that was
first turnover for the game for Washington.
Yeah, but by far his worst decision of the day. Right, kind of threw a ball into tight coverage as it was, let alone he threw it high right into Blankenship's arms, and that put them up what? Did that make it 38-24 or 31-24?
So then it was 31-24 after that, and the Philly defense was able to hold up for the most part.
Yeah, okay.
From that point forward. And we did see a variation on the tush push too.
Oh, I
think that's a big development.
I saw that. You like that?
Go
ahead, lay it out there. You want to lay it out there?
So it was like it looked like they were going to do it again.
Right.
And I don't see exactly how they executed it, but they got the ball to DeAndre Swift, who just went around the edge, untouched.
Yeah, untouched. Everybody was crammed in there. Hurts got the snap. He kind of tossed it out there, and of course, all you're worried about is stopping the tush push.
Yeah,
that's going to make things different. That's going to make the next team go, whoa, wait, we need to keep somebody on the edge. Right, so cool little wrinkle there today. Eagles are so damn good, as we know, and I don't even think they played necessarily their best football today.
Cowboys may have played their best football today. Yeah. They get a win, 43-20. Now the Rams did help them out a little bit with a few things, a pick six and a block punt too for a safety. Dallas though has been playing very, very well at home. They have outscored their opponents in 3 home games this season, 111-33. It's their 4th win this season by 20 or more points, most in the NFL. I mean, that is like that's
there's
not
something
nothing
to be said about that.
That's not nothing.
That's right. It's the NFL. It's hard to win by more than one score, let alone have 4 games where you go, the other team isn't even, in our stratosphere, right? I mean, that is. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
There's no joke. It just shows you they have a killer instinct. They're a momentum team. When they kind of get rolling and start feeling themselves, watch out, right? It's the other games that we see they have struggled in. It's when, it's tight and we can't bully you and it's not, a show out here, and all of a sudden the game becomes ugly and you go, well, they're not very good at ugly, but they're great on the big show. And when they're at home with a little crowd noise on the field turf, they're a different football team. They are. They're fast as hell, and, of course, the crowd noise helps their D-line get off, and the offensive line, is a little slow getting off that way too. But, yes, I did not expect them to steamroll the Rams' offensive line the way they did. I thought the Rams' O-line was a little bit better than, previous years. But, oh, my gosh. I mean, Matthew Stafford was absolutely getting killed really pretty much early on in the football game. I know they had the long field goal drive, but, the pick six by him, very rare to see that. Throws the ball behind Cooper Kupp on a little option out route right into Deron Bland's hand. And then, the punt return, which ended up in what? A safety? That was the next drive. And then Turbin returned after the safety kickoff to the Cowboys a long way to give them the short field to where all of a sudden the game was 10-3, pick six to Bland, 3-and-out Rams, block punt safety, returned the kickoff after the safety, and all of a sudden the game was 26-3. I mean, it happened like that where I kind of saw some things from the Rams that I was like, ooh, the Rams, they're going to give the Cowboys offense some problems. This is going to be interesting. And it didn't even matter after that. And then that just unleashed the Kraken for the Cowboys, and that made them bold, and then they started to be aggressive throwing the ball because they had the lead, and they made big plays in the pass game, and Dak Prescott played really, really good.
Yeah, you mentioned it, Deron Bland, too, the first player in Cowboys history with 3 pick-sixes in a single season.
That's crazy.
Not even at the halfway point.
He was
double that.
He came in last year and had a lot of big interceptions and big plays. He can play on an island. He's got a feel for the corner position and has tremendous ball skills.
So for Dak Prescott, his 7th career game with 300 or more passing yards and 4 touchdown passes, including the playoffs, that is a franchise record. So that's pretty cool if you hold a franchise record for the Dallas Cowboys at the quarterback position. We did see Matthew Stafford leave in the third quarter with a thumb injury in this one. So that is something to monitor, another quarterback injury in the NFL this week.
Definite to monitor. The Rams will not be the same football team without Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is covering in a lot of holes for that Rams football team. Again, we don't think they're a team that's ever going to be able to just consistently run the ball on people or do anything like that. They need him and his big play ability and his ability to read things quickly and, throw pinpoint 6 and 8 and 10-yard passes. That's what's made them so competitive this year. But yeah, without him, that'll be a different story. And then they're going to have, they're going to have to be really creative to figure out offense after that.
Score alert, just to put a button on it. Sunday Night Football is final. Chargers do beat the Bears 30-13.
30-13
score.
Right?
If you want the recap of what we saw in the game, go back to the
rewind
beginning.
It and listen to it again.
Go back to the beginning of the podcast. Let's go to the quarterback injuries part of the podcast. Oh, my gosh, there's more of them. We've already talked about a few of them. But here are the Jets and the Giants. Of course, there's no Aaron Rodgers in this one, and there's no Daniel Jones. And then in mid-game, there's no Tyrod Taylor in this one, too, who went out with, what was his specific injury?
It was something in the ribs.
A rib.
He's in the hospital. Kind of fell. You thought maybe it was his shoulder or something like that. I don't know if his elbows went into his rib, the ball, whatever. I need to see it again. But obviously they're a little concerned because it sounds like he's going to spend the night in the hospital.
So the Jets did win it in overtime, 13-10. And normally when a game goes into overtime, you say, well, that was a really good competitive game. But our question that Pete wants to start this with, was this game so bad? It was good.
Yes.
So the teams combined for 24 punts. 24 punts? Really? That's true?
24 punts.
24 punts and 23 points.
They both had the ball 17 times. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how shitty you have to be on offense, both teams, to get the ball 17 times each?
You got to be pretty bad to go -9 through the air.
So that's what I mean. That's
did.
so bad, it's good. The fact that with -9 in 2023, is it 1823 or 1923 or 2023? Are you kidding me? Yeah. They basically made the rules in the NFL where it's like your team has to leave the field not to get positive yards in the passing game anymore. So that was shocking. This is heartbreaking, man. This is heartbreaking. Okay? It's just like the Giants managed the game and played it almost perfectly. I mean, there's really not much you can look at. They had no chance with Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Well, it was the same kind of thing. Same kind of results.
Danny DeVito. If Danny DeVito went in there and did not attempt to pass, he would have thrown for more yards than Tommy DeVito, who ended with -1.
Right. I mean, at one point I was being silly, and I was literally like, let's just kneel on the ball every play. Let's not let anything bad happen, okay? But no, Saquon ran tough. The defense was absolutely phenomenal. The fact that they could, they kept us in the game for that long was amazing. And then the end of the game is just a shame. Graham Gano was so great last year. He's been so great. He's been very inconsistent this year. Brian Daboll, they're up 10-7. He kicks a 35-yard field goal, and you think, that's the right decision. Kick the field goal, put them up by 6, right? There's not a lot of time left. They're not going to go down and score a touchdown. Miss the field goal, Shankopotamus. Then Wilson makes a great play. I can't remember who he hit over the middle on the first one. It was Wilson on the first one, but here's the kicker. It's not the completion to Wilson. They have no timeouts. It's that Kayvon Thibodeau jumped off sides, so they got the completion and the clock stoppage. If Thibodeau doesn't jump off sides, and I'd want to make sure I say this right, Thibodeau played his best game of his career today, so I'm not trying to bag at him. He was awesome today.
Yeah, a couple
He
sacks.
really was, yeah. He had, but that jumping off sides in that moment, now they get the completion, they get to stop the clock. That allows them to 13 seconds left, have one more chance to make a chunk play to maybe get a field goal.
Which I didn't think there was any way they were going to stop the clock after that play. They hustled up there. They got on the ball fast.
I didn't either. 13 seconds, from my past has usually been not enough time to have that type of completion and still get down there. But they hustled. They were all, they were on it. I'm sure there was reminders in the huddle and whatever else. As soon as I throw the ball, start running to it. We got to do it. And they just got it off. So 17 seconds. 17 seconds was the line of demarcation I was always taught as a quarterback. That was our
kind
play.
of a longer developing play. I just didn't
He scrambled to the right.
Yeah.
I think he threw the ball with 13 seconds. I think that's what we kind of got into. And, good job by him. Zach Wilson, it wasn't pretty, but he made some big throws when he had to. But, here's the only thing you can question, I think, about the game for the Giants. Should they have kicked the ball off in overtime? Pete Demolitis, me and Matt Casey, we were all sitting there going, and I think Matt Casey was the one, right? He kind of looked at me and goes, do you want to receive the ball here? And I said, good question, actually, right? It was a field position game the whole game, right? And you got Tommy DeVito, and at a quarterback.
Yeah.
Did you, I think that's the one where we can go, maybe we should have kicked it off, pinned them down, got field goal position, and then hope Saquon could break one run so we could kick a field goal, right?
Yeah.
Instead of receiving it,
yeah,
and we go, we really haven't moved the ball at all and forever here. We're going to end up giving the Jets the ball in good field position, and they're going to kick the field goal. And that's exactly what happened, and that was game over.
Your best chance to score
was through our defense and field position and do that way, right?
That's true.
Yeah. So that was maybe the one thing we can question. That's a hard thing to do, though, okay? All right? Because as we know, you kick the ball off, and somebody falls on a slant route, and the Jets score a touchdown. Everybody goes, what the why the would you kick the ball off to them? Now they scored. The game's over. What were you thinking? So that's a tough one to actually call it in the moment. But I think if he had that one back, Dayball might do it the other way.
Let me get a couple of the homies in here, too.
Yeah.
Amiri Jet says, damn okay, Thomas Morstead single-handedly won the game for the Jets. Dude is easily the best punter in the game.
He did.
These guys need more credit.
Punts. Yeah.
He goes, is the turf to blame for the injuries? Feels like the Jets get hit with more than anyone. So he kind of took a right turn there, Amiri Jets. He wanted to get a 2-for-1 there. What do you think about the much has been made about the turf?
I know, nobody seems to like the turf at MetLife Stadium. That's been an ongoing discussion forever, really. So I don't know what to say about it. I haven't been on this new turf. It's new from last year. That's where I know they've changed it over, but I don't know. I think that hey, this was a physical game. People were flying around. What's the big injury he's talking about with
Graham Gano?
Was there? Was
what?
There, the
two
2-0
offensive
linemen. That's right. Yeah, that's
Jets.
right. They got hurt early on. I know. I didn't get a chance to quite see them or digest them the right way to know. Right, they lost the center McGovern, I think, early on in the football game. Then lost his backup, so they were on to a third string center there. But hey, the one thing the Jets can learn from this too, as we know, and hopefully Zach Wilson can, make a few plays. Just if you don't turn the ball over, right? The Jets, that defense, they're good enough. They're going to keep you in just about every football game. So that's, I think, the lesson to be learned there. The Jets are a more talented team than the Giants, but, man, it felt like the Giants outplayed them today and let one squeak by. That's for sure.
You called him the three-legged monster last year.
Last year they were the three-legged
so
monster.
Who Pete knows he is hurt, right? He said he is hurt, and he's going to need surgery at the end of the year. That is the plan. Okay, Daniel Jones hurt, didn't play, obviously.
Right.
And Saquon Barkley, he's just one leg. He's just one leg. He's got 36 carries in this one, the most in a game since Frank Gore in 2017. Ran for 128 yards. But one leg can't do it all. Can't do it all for the New York Giants. They go down to the Jets in overtime. The Vikings go down. Their quarterback goes down, Kirk Cousins. I'm bummed about this. I'm a huge Kirk Cousins fan. Partly because he gets crapped on so much
unfairly
when they lose,
right?
And I don't feel
a lot
like
of times by my partner, Mike Florio, who's a Vikings fan.
He's the one quarterback that doesn't get the credit when they win for some reason, but gets all the blame when they lose.
Right.
He goes down, looks like an Achilles injury. That's what Mike's saying. I don't know where that puts the Vikings. I mean, they win this game over the Packers 24-10, but it almost feels like a loss because I don't know how they function without Kirk Cousins going forward.
No, I don't know how much you saw us in Football Night in America, but one of the things I said was like, he is their team. I mean, they don't run the ball. They're not that good at defense, right? They're better, we know that. But it's all about him and the ability to digest all of Kevin O'Connell's offense and all the things they do it every week, and for him to dice you up in the passing game. And he was having one of those days once again. Total control of the football game. I'd be shocked if he didn't tear his Achilles. I mean, I'm not sitting here to, I'm not Dr. Simms here.
Yeah, that's what they think.
But I've been around football my whole life. It was one of those, as soon as I saw it, I went, oh, that's his Achilles. Like, it had that Rodgers look where the leg wanted to stop, but the pressure of it, and all of a sudden you see this jerk of like the heel goes down farther than it should in that moment. So, yes, that's, a huge moment for their football team. It is. And I don't know what they're going to do here going forward. Like I've told you, I think they're better than last year. They're 4-4. But, who's out there to get? I know Colt McCoy's out there. Would the Titans trade a Ryan Tannehill? Where are they going to go? How much assets of the future are they going to, trade to go, oh, let's try to make a run still here this year? I mean, we all know the Vikings aren't going to the Super Bowl, right? So they have to decide how all in they want to go. But either way, yeah, it's devastating because, like you said, he's a phenomenal football player and been playing great really the last 2 years.
Yeah, Jaron Hall is the rookie that came in
Not going to get
BYU.
it done with him. Not going to get it done. No way.
So Nick Mullins is on IR.
He's on IR.
He's got another game before he can come back. But yeah, none of these players are going to bring you to the promised land.
No, not
none of the
what?
alternative. Not even. I mean, unless you're talking Kyler Murray. If you're going to go big on something like that.
It'd have to be somebody like that, right? It'd have to be, or Ryan Tannehill or somebody. Ryan Tannehill's not as good as Kirk Cousins. I know that. But I'm just saying, at least he's proven and we know he can play a little still and make some big throws here. But even within all that, you got to learn the new offense, right? In week 9 of the NFL season, man, that's not easy either, right? There's no, hey, we run the ball really good, so it'll give you some time to break you in. They don't do that. It's as much as a season ender as I can remember here by a football team. Unfortunate, because it kind of seemed like they were kind of hitting a stride here, where you went, the Vikings, watch out for them. They're kind of getting it going here after the win last week.
Yeah.
The way they look today, right?
Fun team, too. Addison's been looking good. Hawkinson, one of the better tight ends in football.
Doing this without Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Right? The defense is doing damn well, and really same thing with the Packers, just to hit on them.
Yeah, their worst start since 2005. They're 2-5 right now. I mean, their offense is non-existent. 15 points per game during their 4-game losing streak. Their leading rusher was Jordan Love today with 34 yards.
They haven't been able to run the ball like they thought they were going to be able to kind of break Jordan Love in.
And they can't throw the ball real well either.
And you can't trust him to throw the ball. That's exactly right. The stats themselves, 24 for 41, 229, right? They have the training wheels on there. And a lot of those are end-of-the-game kind of BS stats anyways. They went into the half with 69 yards passing. That's not enough. It's not. And within this today, their defense hasn't been good enough either. The Vikings, they missed a short field goal early on in the football game, too, where they drove the ball down the field. So, yeah, the Green Bay, they're in trouble. I don't see it like turning around. I don't. I want to know I'm interested is how long are they going to ride with Jordan Love? I think that's where we're getting to. At least it's time to question this. Not that it was bad.
Yeah.
It's just not that good. And you could tell by the play calling that they don't trust him with a lot of things. So they're trying to manage the game while managing him, and they're not good enough to do that right now. We talked about Sean Clifford and how awesome he was, right, in the preseason, the backup quarterback. He was phenomenal, right? Jordan Love's interception today, I will say for this, it was not a bad throw. Jaden Reed should have caught it. Metellus did an unbelievable job kind of taking it out of his hands, making a great return. Next play, Jordan Addison touchdown. See you later, Packers. That kind of is all she wrote in that football game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they have to be concerned with the way Jordan Love looks right now. They have to be.
Maybe they should have drafted another quarterback last year. Maybe they should have drafted Will Levis as we go into the Will Levis category. As Pete notes, it's
he just got his own category.
Yeah. It's 11:30 at night on the East Coast right now, and so we just when we get to the end of it, we just whatever the player that was big in that game gets the name of the
Will
category.
Levis category. We could have put this in the QB injury category too.
That's true. That is true.
No Tannehill.
Titans got the win over the Falcons. 28-23 was the score. Will Levis, Pete notes here, the third quarterback with 4 touchdown passes in his NFL debut. Fran Tarkenton also did it. Marcus Mariota also did it as well. Cortland 858 says, damn okay, Will Levis really looked like Josh Allen today. Do you still feel Levis is too rocked up for the position? So, yeah, let's take a look at what he did in a second here. But what were your reservations about him when you evaluated him in college?
A kind of a physical specimen that I felt like didn't have a great feel for quarterbacking yet, or a lot of it needed some more work throwing the football. Like, the arm was strong, but it was still like, I'd go, I don't know how you missed that throw, right? You heard me say that. Or a little mechanical, right? And or not the appropriate ball. Or there were some throws where you're just like, wait, you played too many games to throw a ball into that coverage. I think those are the things concerned me. I saw the high-end physical talent. Yeah. It's just whether I felt like he could play the position at a consistent enough level, and that's what I doubted. But, damn, today will go a long way to shut some of that up for sure.
You just needed to see him with DeAndre Hopkins. Then you would have changed your mind entirely, who had 3 touchdowns and over 100 yards hooking up with Will Levis. So, yeah, what did you make of the touchdowns, the throws? What did you see from him today?
One, he does have a presence on the football field.
He definitely does.
Definitely is. I mean, he's a big stud. And, is he a little muscular? Sure. But, I mean, if you're going to throw the ball like that, I don't give a damn. Do another curl. Do another tricep extension. Go for it. Because it's big plays down the field. That to me was the impressive thing. We know they can run the ball and do that. I wasn't sure, did they trust him to push the ball down the field, or is this going to be back shoulder, we throw a fade every now and then, throw a slant, we're going to be real conservative with them. They kind of dialed up some home run shots. And he showed his ability to move and push the ball with ease. I mean, the first throw to DeAndre Hopkins was really good. It was offensive pass interference.
It was.
I mean, blatant.
Yeah.
If that doesn't get called offensive pass interference, then nothing's gonna.
But that throw was like a blimp throw, where if
he
there was
threw
a blimp,
it really high,
it might have hit it. Yeah.
And that to me is the best deep ball throwers. Throw it high, let your guys go get it. DBs are DBs because they usually don't know how to play the ball, right? So Hopkins fighting, doing whatever, pulling the guy's head off, right? Yeah. Then it goes and gets it. That play, hit Hopkins on the shallow cross, kept it accurate on the run, got a touchdown there. And then they had the in-cut and go for the other big one, right? Where kind of like quarters, hey, we've thrown the backside in-cut a lot. They get the safety to kind of jump up on it. Hopkins looks like he's going to break across, and then he straightens up the field. Boom. That was, a 61-yard touchdown? The most impressive, though, was the last one of the day. When he rolled to the right, and then threw the big post across all the way to the back of the end zone to Westbrook-Ikhine.
Yeah.
That was the one where I was like, okay, feeling it right now. I mean, he really is. So that was impressive. Big win for them today.
Yeah.
Falcons, 4-4. I know one of the leaders in the NFC South. Their defense has been great. That's where I was kind of shocked to see Tennessee move the ball the way they did today. But you know what I want to say?
You think it's Heineke time?
I don't know how they don't have the conversation.
So he started the second half here. So Desmond Ridder was evaluated for a concussion in the third quarter. So I guess it was sometime in the second half.
He was cleared to go back.
He did not have a concussion.
No.
So it's like they determined he did not have one and could have gone back in the game.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those, like, are you hurt? And he's like, no. Yeah. You're hurt, huh? You're hurt, huh? Yeah, you're a little banged up. We can see it a little. Hold on, Heineke, you get in. You're hurt.
Yeah.
You didn't get a concussion? I think you did. I'm overruling the doctor. I mean, it felt like they were looking for a reason to go, okay, now's our time. Let's make a change, okay? Now, I know Desmond Ridder's done some good things. We know that. But got strip-sacked early, right? That led to a short field touchdown. That led to the second Hopkins touchdown pass. But my big point is not necessarily what Ridder looked like, but what it looked like with Heineke. Heineke and their offense looked, I thought, as good as I've seen it look the whole year. as far as just efficiency in the pass game, marrying it all together. So that's where I kind of like the look. And again, I'm not going to sit here but hey, Ritter played the whole first half, 3 points, and some of the third quarter, 3 points. Heineke got in for a quarter and a half, 20 points. I don't know. There's a little bit better there. And I trust him to run the offense. I'm not saying you give up on Desmond Ritter forever, but we have been saying it kind of feels like they've been winning in spite of Desmond Ritter. And I think Heineke plays better quarterback. I'm not saying he's got better pure potential, but I think right now he's the best fit for this Falcons offense.
Yeah, their offense has been sputtering.
Yeah.
6 straight games with 23 points or fewer for the first time since the 2015 season. The hard thing with Ritter and benching him here is then you don't want the back and forth. The back and forth is the worst part of it.
They got to if they're going to go with it, you go with Heineke and you give him a chance just like you gave Ritter.
Yeah.
You gave him 8 games and 5 or 6 of them were right? So, yeah, if you make that switch, you can't go 2 games and then go back to Ritter. That's for sure. Now, you kind of got to go, hey, we're going to let this play out and let him get his feet underneath them a little bit and see where we can go. But I just feel like they're a better than 4-4 football team, and they're better than what you just said. Their offense should score more points. There's more talent there. They haven't run the ball the same because they can't back anybody off in the pass game. And we saw Robinson with that one, he had the one big run today for the touchdown. I mean, he's special. Yeah. But everybody's playing to stop the run when they play the Falcons.
But really, they had no chance to win this game because Mike Vrabel now improves to a perfect 6-0 when coming off a bye. So Atlanta really had no chance, no matter who played at quarterback.
Yeah, Vrabel's a great coach. I think Vrabel is one of the best coaches in football. Because I don't think Tennessee is nearly all that talented. And they kind of hang in every game, and every team that they're supposed to beat, they beat. And teams that are better than them, they hang around and make it close, and I'm just a fan of him.
Final 2 games on Sunday. For that, we will go into the newspaper shop. It's time for Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. The shop is open.
The shop is open. The press is a-printing. Okay, the Saints defeat the Colts.
Yeah, but we don't have headlines. We need the headlines.
Oh,
Hurry.
okay, hold on. I feel the need for Shaheed.
I love that one.
Woo, woo, woo.
I
feel like have we used that before? I'm not sure. We might have gone to the well.
Pete says it once a week. We've probably used it before.
That's maybe where it's on my head is Pete won't shut up saying it, so I feel like we've said it on headlines before.
So here's his line. Yeah. I love his line. 3 targets, 3 catches, 153 yards, and a touchdown. Basically going for 50 yards each time they threw it to him.
He is one of the best big play receivers in football. He really, every week, he's the number 1 guy you got to be scared of that receiving core. I mean, he is special. He really is. Size, speed, he can do damage. One of those catches, okay, I want everybody to look this up at some point. The ball was intercepted. They deemed he caught the ball even though he hadn't gotten to the ground and survived the ground. The guy stole the ball before then. A little loophole in the rules there, which I've known before, and I've said this before. But if the pass isn't completed until you survive the ground, and now you haven't survived the ground and somebody steals the ball out of your hand before that, that's an incomplete pass and the ball's still alive. You haven't completed the process. So that is weird to me. That was a weird moment of the game.
But when are you down?
But yeah,
if you're touched and you're on the ground.
That's what I got to go look. Right. If he's touched or whatever, yeah. But are they counting that? So now he survived the catch? It's a little bit of a loophole. I need to look at it and reassess it in my own brain.
It's got to be like wrestling. You got to go 1, 2.
I mean, there's got to be something
the
there. No,
you still have the ball.
But we'll talk about that on Wednesday and maybe try to create a controversy.
All right.
The big thing is this was the first game I felt like the Saints offense met my expectations, right? Where you went, damn, okay. Run the ball, big plays in the pass game. Derek Carr let it fly a few times. They got creative with some of the things they did in the run game. I mean, I know they've been creative with Taysom Hill and having a package for him every game to a degree. But yeah, that was impressive. They kind of whooped the Colts defense in a way that I haven't seen a lot of teams do it. 511 total yards of offense, 19 completions for over 300 yards, right? Kind of just tells you the day they were having. When they were completing the ball, it was for big plays, and they had some runs too where they gashed them as well. But I think that was about as good as I've seen the Saints offense look all year.
Yeah, 19 completions for Derek Carr, over 300 yards, and in fact, He is the first Saint with over 300 yards in 3 straight games.
Wow.
Since our former colleague, Drew Brees.
Yeah, I'm
did
sure.
So, 2015 to 2016. So,
but I want it like this, not 55 completions for 305 yards, right? I mean,
and then
that's
yelling
not
to
the
Chris Olave
that's
intermittently.
not cool. Definitely not cool.
They ran for 160 in this game. So, yeah, the Colts defense is certainly falling apart here a little bit. They've allowed 35 or more in the last 3 games in a row.
Totally falling apart. It's all become their offense here as of late, But what I was impressed with this one, 17-7 Colts, right? They strip sack Derek Carr, and you're going, wow. The Colts are running the ball. Minshew, we know, has done some good things and playing right. And I'm going, they're going to control this football game. And from that point on, the Saints bounce right back, go on a long drive. Taysom Hill gets the touchdown run in the Wildcat, and then get the ball back after, I want to say it was maybe the Minshew interception. It might have not been. I might be a series earlier. But then the next drive was when they hit Shaheed with the big pass, right?
Yep.
And they kind of never looked back from that point. And you kind of got the feeling that, man, I don't think the Colts are ever going to stop that offense throughout the day, and that pretty much held true.
The Saints' record 4-4. They're in the mix. They are in the mix.
They definitely are in the mix, and I would say more dangerous than anybody else in the NFC South, just because of the offensive potential we've talked about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the defense is good. I don't think it's as good as statistically it's ranked. I kind of said this last week. I don't think they've played a lot of great offenses, because we saw the Jaguars move the ball on them and all that. But, yeah, the Saints could be dangerous. That's the one thing to watch here is can they keep this offense hot?
One more game to talk about from Sunday. It was the first quarterback taken versus the second quarterback taken. Panthers versus the Texans, 15-13. Panthers get the win. Your headline for this game is?
It is The Bryce is Right.
Oh.
Yeah, you like that, Bob Barker?
Now that I know we've never used before.
The great Bob Barker.
Yes, I do
The
like
Bryce
that.
is
Love
Right.
Love that show.
The Bryce is Wrong, Stroud.
So we've never used this before, but I can guarantee we will use this many times in the future.
I think so. We probably will. We'll probably beat it to death and never want to hear it again.
Your boy Varney says to us, damn okay, Bryce Young, 91-yard game-winning drive.
Big-time drive.
He looked
up
good.
The clock.
He looked good this game.
He really did. He made a few plays throughout the day where I went, damn, that was a throw there. He is slick. His ability to kind of move and shuffle and throw sidearms, find windows. He made one throw down the field at one point where he was kind of backpedaling and had somebody bearing down on him and threw like a corner route to the left. And it was the first time all year I went, whoa, I can't believe his arm got it there with his body in that position, right? Bryce Young is not always like, whoa, strong arm guy, right? He can make all the throws. I am impressed with his ability and his strength in his arm when he's in awkward positions. That's where I think he really jumps out to me. But, yeah, good job by him. Was pretty consistent through the day. That last drive of the game where we give the damn okay by your boy Varney.
Yeah.
Right? The big fourth down completion to Adam Thielen. That was a huge moment in the game, certainly. And then I think the other thing that would be fair in this game, the Panthers' defense. The Panthers' defense is a handful. They're another team, we talk about it a lot, are better than their statistical output because their offense has struggled. They've kind of, the dam is broke towards the end of some football games there today. But C.J. Stroud never looked comfortable in the game, and their run game for the Texans really never got going either. It was about as arbitrary as that Texans offense had to look all year.
First win of the year.
Yeah, good for
your
Bryce
Carolina
Young.
Panthers.
Way to go.
I don't like to see a team go winless.
No,
I had to
definitely
suffer
not.
through Detroit Lions season like that, and it's not fun. So get that win so you don't have to talk about it
Yeah, good for Frank Reich to get off the schneid there, off the bye week. Good job by Carolina. Carolina, they're going to be a pain in the butt. They're going to win a few more as we go down the stretch here. That defense is too good. As Bryce Young gets comfortable, I think he'll make more and more plays.
And that was Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. Don't forget, we had a game Thursday. Your comments on the Buffalo Bills getting a win, their 5th win of the season, beating the Buccaneers 24-18.
Yeah, well, it got a little too uncomfortably close at the end of the football game. That was another game of 24-18, but it felt like the Bills should have been up by 3 scores late in the football game, right? Whether it's turnovers, missed opportunities down inside the 5 or 10 yard line and going for it on 4th down. I think the most impressive thing hey, their defense looked good. I know it let up some plays and some yards later in the football game. But the other thing is maybe we're onto something. Can we spread the ball like we did in Buffalo? It was the first game I felt like the first 10 passes of the game weren't to go to Stephon Diggs. It wasn't like, all right, pass number 1, Diggs is the first read. Pass number 2, Diggs is the first read. Pass number 3, Diggs is the first read. Pass number 4, we fake it to Diggs and throw a screen to somebody else, right? I mean, no, it actually felt like they came out and were like, no, we're going to give Gabe Davis the number 1 read play, and Shakir will get another play, and it all seemed to work the right way, spreading it around to where defense can't just hone in on Diggs and stop Allen magic. And I think they found a little semblance of a short passing game like we talked about. Mm-hmm. I think it's too late for them to become a real good running team, but maybe they can do like what we talked about with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, where they can carve you up short pass game, and then Josh will find a few plays every game to throw a bomb or a laser down the field.
Yeah, James Cook was okay in this one.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't bad.
Almost 5 yards to carry for him, but another win for the Buffalo Bills.
Game changer when Vita Vea didn't play. When he didn't play, I went, ooh.
That's interesting.
We always talk about, a big receiver's out, a big corner's out, a big pass rusher's out. We got to start putting some of these guys in the middle in the same capacity. Vita Vea is a game wrecker. Josh Allen would not have as much time throwing the ball if Vita Vea was in the game, nor would have James Cook ran through some of the holes he ran if Vita Vea was in the game. Some of these D tackles we undervalue their importance to a football game there. That was a big one. No,
not on this
not
podcast.
on this pod. I know that.
You're right. When the big butts are out, we need to note that.
Yeah, that's
People
right.
need to talk about
that.
that.
No doubt.
We got one more game to go.
We do?
My Lions are going to bounce back. In a ferocious way.
I would expect them to.
Restore the roar against the Raiders at home. That's what I'm hoping happens.
Yeah.
You think it'll happen?
I definitely do. I think the Raiders are in a big bind on their defensive side versus your offense. You've heard me say the Raiders don't have enough difference makers up front, so I worry about them being able to stop the run. And then, okay, now we're going to load up on the run, and I would think Jared Goff and company have a field day throwing the ball too, right? Now, the only thing I'll say that's a little scary for you guys, where I just go give the Raiders a hope, Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. Mm-hmm. You guys don't play a ton of man-to-man like we've been talking about and all of that. And that's where McDaniels, Garoppolo, Devontae Adams pick you apart for 7 and 8 and 10 and 12. I could see them moving the ball on you guys a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep pace. I think ultimately your Lions win comfortably.
Well, we will watch.
Yes.
We will watch.
We know you'll be watching.
I will be watching. I will be glued to the television for that one. Wow, we did it, and we at a good pace, too.
Yeah.
I feel like this was
with full slate of games.
23 games, it felt like.
Full slate of games. Ahmed was out partying all last night.
Kind of was,
I mean, he was buying shots at the bar for everybody.
No, I was not doing that.
I know you're not.
I was accepting them. No.
You're the man.
But hold on. We got
a news?
Matt has you tweeted out something during our podcast.
I did. I'm a multitasker.
You said, serious question. Would you have been okay if the Giants had kicked off to start overtime after winning the coin toss? 56% of the people
said yes.
Said yes.
Yeah. I think that was the feel of the game. I think that would have been the right thing. Like I said, it's hard to do. It is. But damn, I'm smart. That was a good tweet by me right there.
That was good.
Good.
Now I've got Matt's phone. I'm going to go check other things.
Oh, yeah, check it out. See what else he's doing. Check his search history. Let's check if he's acting accordingly at work, okay?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, be good. You know where to find us. Keep sending in the questions. We're going to start hitting more of the Ask Me Anything stuff on Wednesday. We want to get the listeners more involved, but you know where to find us. Treasure Hunter, PG-13 version on Wednesday. What the happened, our version on Wednesday. All right, check us out. Keep sending it in. Peace out. Subscribe, rate, review. Ahmed, thanks for driving the ship as always. Clap it up.
Clap it up.
Yo, what up, homies? Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe to Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Right now, we got Sunday pod, right? So you can have it Monday morning. We recap all the action. Wednesday, it's the What the Happened podcast. We're going to get deep in the weeds on the key matchups of the week. And then Thursday, I'm picking games with that jerk Florio. So you know where to find us, homies. Keep watching. Peace out. We'll see you.